GT proceeded to change.
Eddinghausen! No, yes!
And on more than one occasion.
Here goes Chariots again, and look at the pace! Overcomes Eddinghausen, can he stop him again? Yes, he does!
The best, though, was reserved for Big Mouth.
Meninga again, still travelling. Meninga gets it in. Gillespie, he won't have the pace, but he gets it. Jackson, Meninga started it. Meninga will finish it.
The Aussies were awesome. A 4-try romp proving there is plenty of kick in the 92 Kangaroos. Great Britain regrouped to coast home against New South Wales country before being punished by the Eels of Parramatta. Their victory over Newcastle this week was at a price, as skipper Ellery Hanley survived only 9 minutes. The pride of Mother England is on the line. The battle for the Ashes continues tonight at Princes Park, the second test.
It's in his bag, but he will have to dig extra deep, as will his teammates, and especially the pack from Wigan. Edwards and Schofield, as we said in the top, will have to do it for the Great Britain side. Some young Great Britain fans too making the journey. He checks out some of his heroes. This is the night where the test future of this country is on the line. Their last series win was in this country 22 years ago, and it was their coach Malcolm Reilly who did the job for them then. Now as coach, he's got to do it tonight. Confidence with their fans. We also wonder if they will be singing long into the night. The green and gold machine to try and stop it all. Meninga makes the walk out through the tunnel for the 13th time as an Australian Test captain. Is it going to be lucky for green and gold?
Ladies and gentlemen, please now welcome the 4X Australian Kangaroos.
Great reception here in Melbourne for this Australian team. There were concerns that with the big British contingent here that the advantage might have gone to Great Britain a little playing this test match out of New South Wales and Queensland, but the crowd there gave an answer to the Australians.
Yes, and I'm sure that once that first tackle comes along, this Melbourne crowd will really let the Australians know exactly what they want them to do tonight. There won't be too many guesses needed for that. The Aussies are in a pretty determined mood. They certainly got that Britain all over their faces. It's Captain Meninga who's displaying at the moment. He wants this match to be a very important one, of course, equaling the record. Wouldn't be a match that Mal would want to drop.
Wally, as we said, 216 portable lights in here tonight to bring the Princes Park ground up to television standard. Do you think we may see some bombs?
I think we're out to see plenty of those tonight. Graham Stedman, the Great Britain fullback, can expect plenty, and I'm sure that Andrew Eddinghausen might get his fair share as well. But speaking of those lights, Pat, being down there on ground level just before the match, I can tell you they aren't as good as conditions as the players are used to playing under, of course, at the Sydney Football Stadium or at Lang Park in Brisbane. The lights here, of course, are mainly portable ones, and they are fairly low, and it is fairly difficult. The direction the players are facing now, they're faced with 3 very strong batteries of lights, and that is the hardest way to look on this ground. We may see the occasional drop ball out there. It may be from the lights, but then again, I think that might be from some over-vigorous defence in the first 10 or 15 minutes as well.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you please now be upstanding?
That light rain is still with us here at Princes Park as we stand by for the playing of the national anthems of both countries.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing now for the Australian National Anthem to be performed by Mr. Dennis Walter, courtesy of the Melbourne Network and 3
Magnificent rendition from Dennis Walter and the Australian squad in fine voice as well. As the skies here in Melbourne light up, high above this famous ground, Princess Park, home of Carlton. We also stand by tonight. Of course, there will be a minute's silence in respect of that tragic rugby league loss last weekend. The fine talent from the Penrith Rugby League Club in Sydney,
Ladies and
Ben
gentlemen, the
Alexander.
Australian Rugby League now asks you to observe a moment of silence in memory of Ben Alexander, a member of the Penrith Rugby League football team who was tragically killed last Sunday. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
To the Alexander family back in the Penrith area in New South Wales, our deepest sympathy from the entire Channel 7 sports team, and to his brother Greg and to his great teammate Brad Fittler, our sincere best wishes.
A great mark of respect from Brad Fittler as well, who withdrew from this Australian side and had all the blessings of team management because he didn't think that he would be up to playing this test match tonight. And I know there's a lot of sadness in the Penrith area tonight, and our sympathies go to everyone in the Alexander family.
The scene is set here for the second test between Australia and Great Britain. The battle for the Ashes, they are well and truly on the line tonight with Australia's win in that first test at the Sydney Football Stadium. The referee, Mr. Dennis Hale from New Zealand, 5 test matches. He had to continue to keep the teams apart in Sydney to make sure that it didn't explode on him. That will be the same situation tonight. Underway, Great Britain trying to send us to a decider at Lang Park. Sheridan, who seems to reserve his best against the Englishman. Clyde, right near the Australian 22. Working it away through the forwards. Lidner, still near the 22. Walters looking to switch the play. Gillespie. He took his chance in Sydney when Lazarus was forced off injured. Fulton has rewarded him with a start in the lineup tonight. 40 metres out from the line, they will go down to the last and look for a kick. Jackson was under pressure. Eddinghausen was under pressure. Off the side of the boot. Down for a fire. Little bit of a fumble. The Australians all onside now. He got away early in that first test. They will try and bottle him up tonight. Dermott looking for some workers amongst the forwards. Dennis Betts. Great defence. Betts was the player to stand out for Great Britain back in 1990 on the Kangaroo Tour. Wally, he was quiet in Sydney and has been quiet on tour.
Yeah, surprisingly, but I think a lot of that can be attributed to the Australians probably paying a little bit of extra attention to him. He was the player that really stood out for Wigan all the way through the year. And if you let a guy like that get a bit of a head start, I suppose you can put yourself in real danger. Eddinghausen with a chance to counteract from Australia. Surprisingly, we've seen 13 tackles now, Graham, without a penalty. A little bit different to the first test.
Wishart slipping. There will be a lot of that tonight. Plenty of rain in Melbourne throughout the week. Midfield and near the 22 again. Bradley Clyde. Now MMI man of the match in the first test. Walters across the ruck looking for Harrigan. Taken down low by Billy McGinty. Jackson. This time he will have the chance to put his own kick in. Down away from Stedman, who gets an awkward bounce, allowing time for the chasers. Langer nails it. Gets assistance from Daly. Englishmen were calling for the penalty. Phil Clark. A lot will depend on Great Britain's test future with this young man who fills the role of Ellery Hanley in that lock forward position. Dermott back for Skerritt. The Australians coming in 2s and 3s. Schofield. Schofield! Plenty of support. A fire should score if he can set him. He goes away. Wishart did well to stay with him. Great cover by Australia. Edwards. Edwards chips. Nobody's home. Langer gets back. Here comes Edwards. Langer sends it dead. Just like in Sydney, the early chance was with the Englishman.
Excellent play there. Once again, we've seen the Englishmen try and spread the ball wide as early as possible in the game. The first pass looked like it was in a bit of danger. It was juggled by the Englishmen down on their own 22-metre line, but once they got out in the open, we immediately thought we were in a bit of trouble. Of course, magnificent work there from Rod Wishart to get back and do the cover defending tackle. Once again, Andrew Eddinghausen found himself in a little bit of danger 2-on-1, but a lot more support this time round. Peter Jackson will probably be a little bit cross on himself there, Graham. He was the man that missed the tackle on Gary Schofield.
This time the ball bounces off the chest of Stedman. Play on. Flying tackle from Lindner. They went without points with those early chances in Sydney. They need to convert those opportunities. Skerritt. They might get a chance at goal. The penalty against Australia. Just outside the 22. Schofield to bring over Paul Eastwood. Well, this was the Australians well and truly inside the 5. Dennis Hale had played the advantage for as long as he thought possible. And Eastwood, from the whole club in England, he's about 20 metres in from the sideline, so he's fairly adjacent.
Interesting to note there, Graham, in that 2 tackles from the English team. They seem to look a hell of a lot more confident than they did in the previous 2 sets of 6 that they had down on their own line. Marvellous what one break can do for a team's confidence, and I suppose it really was necessary after the result in that first game. Maybe we're about to see the Great Britain team come out with the style that they did in that first match. We hope so, because it's certainly going to promise for a great game.
Eastwood was the man who had a chance in that fabulous second test back in 1990 at Old Trafford in Manchester to wrap up an Ashes series win. And it was an easy attempt, something just like this. It went astray, and history stayed on the side of Australia. The red, white and blue looking for the right start. The right start and some confidence. Eastwood takes plenty of time. He gets it. Great Britain draw first blood. It is 2-0. own 22. Some strong running from Platt. This all-Wigan pack. Big advantage to the Englishman, McGinney. Now Harrigan came in with a big hit. Harrigan struggling to get back to his feet. Steadman switches play to create some room for himself, and the kick, and a good kick too, getting it away from Eddinghausen and Hancock.
10 Englishmen in the chasing team down there, Graham. They really are switched on at the moment, the Englishmen. They're out. They mean business at the moment. They've got a sniff of success early in the game. There's a long way to go. But once they've got this opportunity, they're not about to let it go, just like that.
7 minutes gone. Gillespie, a little stutter. But plenty of the defence around him. Jackson down a short blind side. It was on for just a moment. He had support outside. Klein shows the ball. The defence don't fall for it. Langer. Steadman back to the in goal. Daly's down there. Meninga's there. He beats Meninga. Good stepping from Steadman. Man from Castleford, fumble from Schofield. Missed by Dennis Hale, the referee.
Well, it was only a little knock on it. Only went half a metre forward, I think, Graham.
He claimed that it came off the boot of Schofield. Amazing miss as Schofield looks away. No doubt about it. They will be looking for the kick shortly. Dermott. Penalty against the Australians for holding some support play that was trying to loom up for Martin Dermott. Dermott just out of shot. There was a shoulder charge on one of the Englishmen.
It's going back to that knock on. If Gary Schofield didn't knock that on, if it came off his boot, he's certainly going to end up with a big headache walking down the road tomorrow morning, Graham, that's for sure.
Edwards, short ball up for Scarrett. They go into the Australian territory. They have the penalties 2-0. Platt, full of running Platt, another one. And Dennis Hale says to the Australians, you stay behind me. Eastwood will come over for another shot. Now they're having a midfield conference. Steadman wanted to kick for the sideline, then 2 and 3 players rushed in to point to the goalposts.
Maybe they're a little bit more confident than we've given them credit for. Common sense, I think, being the common denominator in the end there, Graham. 32 metres out from the line, and around 10 minutes into the game, I think it would be ridiculous to go for anything else except the 2 points.
Michael O'Connor, this is shaping up very much like the match in Sydney where they gained all the early opportunities.
It is, Graham. They're getting plenty of opportunities, though, the Englishmen. I'm very surprised at the handling. It's good. The ball's slippery and the conditions are atrocious down here. There's a lot of wind and, I mean, they're really playing quite well, Great Britain, but that was a bad miss by the referee down there. Australia had the opportunity for 6 tackles in the Great Britain quarter, and they're right off the hook and they're shooting for goal for 2 points.
Just the sort of decisions that can turn a test match, one way or the other. 100% so far for Eastwood. This time he's 32 metres out and he is in front. He is kicking into the breeze. The rain still tumbling down here. Eastwood to give them a real good start. He does just that. He's got the boot on line as the English fans celebrate. 11 minutes gone. Optus replay shows you that Eastwood wasn't real happy about that at all. New love steps. Got away from the first line of defence. Darryl Powell, I should say, who was swapped around with those jumpers. Platt goes without it for Clark to show it. Edwards. Getting it away for Skerritt. Plenty of early possession for the Englishman. Dermott. Ducked under one. Sits it up nicely for Betts as they start to support each other around the ruck. Langer chasing down on Steadman. He looks for the angle to the sideline, kicks it low into the breeze. Eddinghausen will take on a fire. He won't get away. Lindner running from dummy half and running well too. Meninga looking for workers amongst the forwards. Gillespie gives it straight back. Here's an opportunity. Big back line set up to the right if they go to it early. They do. Edwards thought he sighted a gap, he slipped. Harrigan looks to have recovered. Dermott still stays with Schofield and the back line. Clark on a run around. Fumbles, then loses it. That ball is getting slipperier still. Langer goes wide to Jackson. Good defence from Edwards. Meninga from dummy half. The Australians have missed 5 tackles so far. Jackson amongst the forwards. Great tackle. Super tackle from McGinney. That really hurt. Great charge. He rocked Jackson. Right on halfway. Just one more tackle. Jackson kicking across the field away from Steadman. Sending Eastwood rushing back. He steps inside Langer.
Good kick from Peter Jackson there, Graham. He kicked at the open spaces. Some people may have thought that he put his team in a little bit of pressure there, but he really bought some time for his chasers. They managed to get down there. Now we see Great Britain only 12, 14 metres out from their own line, and already 3 tackles gone.
Andy Platt showing the way home for the Englishman amongst the forwards. Quick hands, Schofield. Meninga, great tackle from him as they tried to again work to a fire's wing. Now he goes from dummy half, and he gets hammered over the top by Harrigan. Last tackle, they're still in their 22. Awkward pass back for Steadman. He only kicks to halfway. Eddinghausen slips as he went to take it. Favourable bounce for the Englishman. And they finish him about 35 out from his own line. They've got plenty of confidence, Pat.
They have. That last set of 6 wasn't good for them, and they got a little break with the kick bouncing past Eddinghausen, but they're really fired up and playing very, very well at this stage. There's a good run by Hancock, injecting himself into the forwards across field. They're still inside their own half, the Aussies, though. And they're having a lot of trouble getting out of their own half wall.
Yes, they certainly are. Just that ruck from Michael Hancock there, sometimes that can tend to indicate that there is a little bit of worry in a team when the wingers are forced to come in. Alan Langer's kick, just a little bit too much weighted there. Going back to Michael Hancock, sometimes that can indicate that the forwards aren't really in a position to do their jobs. But of course, when you've got a player like Mickey Hancock, who is such a devastating runner, it really does come in handy to give your forwards a break every now and then and get him in there to grab some valuable territory.
Just as an indication of that, Australia have only been in for 2 sets of 6 in the opposition half. Great Britain 7. So they really had the better of this match territorially. Jackson up high on the debutant Billy McGinty, who's had a strong game tonight. Dermott looking to the blind side. He finds Betts. Nowhere to go for Betts. Meninga in there with strong defence. Up the centre goes Andy Platt, playing in his favourite prop position tonight. And there's punches being thrown here now. Harrigan's involved. So too is Skerritt. Platt is in there and well as well. Well, it's taken a while to boil over. We thought it would happen.
Paul Harrigan, I think, will be one of the blokes we'll find on the replay that was the guy that was involved there.
Look at Schofield.
It was Gary Schofield. I'd have the car in reverse out of there. He's a little bit too big for that bloke. Yeah, it was a case of Paul Harrigan, I think, just grabbing a guy who was jogging through, taking him out of play a little bit too early, and quite foolishly, I thought the smaller of the two decided to have a go at Harrigan. Geez, he's enormous, that bloke. 2 different weight divisions going on here.
Martin Dermott also called out for a warning, and the penalty, as expected, will go to Great Britain. Let's have a look at it on the Optus replay. It's Harrigan interfering with Dermott, and that's how it started. Great shots from our head on camera showing all the action, and there was plenty of Punches thrown in that exchange, as you can see. Okay, the penalty is taken. Great Britain right down to Australia's quarter line. Great chance to attack. Skerritt on the charge. Only about 15 metres out. Here comes Platt. It's been raked away from him, and Australia will get the ball.
Very well done from Steve. Yes, it was knocked on, but very good work from Stevie Walters to rake that ball back. Unfortunately, the Australian defence turned attack, weren't quite able to get on the ball and seal the advantage for Australia. Peter Jackson.
So the Australians get the Great Britain side get a chance to attack again, and Schofield's legs are cut from under him by Meninga. They'll work the open side again. Clark dummies, he's through, he will score! He will score, and it was so easy. It was so easy for Phil Clark. One of the Wiggins set of six. The 21-year-old, as Graham said, the future of Great Britain Rugby League, and he has sent the 8,000 fans here at Princes Park that have travelled all the way from Mother England into an absolute frenzy.
We've seen some pretty displayed running from Great Britain here, Pat, and the gaps that are going across there, of course, on the Optus replay happened because the Great Britain players were running angles. We saw the ruck prior to this half open up the gap. Mel Meninga managed to close it up there, but there it is there with Phil Clark running across. A couple of would-be Australian defenders just caught in a little bit of despair there. Paul Harrigan, one of them. A great opportunity opened up for the English.
Two of the biggest men in the Australian side. It was Jackson, it was Sirinen and Paul Harrigan, and it's happened in the 18th minute. So the scoreline here now is 8 points to 0 in favour of Great Britain. And who would have read it this way?
This is exactly what didn't happen in Sydney. When they had some chances, they didn't make them into points. The Ashes are on the line. These guys have got to believe in themselves, and it is the real test for the Australians now. They are labelled a great side. They've got to lift.
Well, we're only halfway through the first half, so there's plenty of time for Mel Meninga's Aussies. But Eastwood has the chance, and it's not all that difficult, only about 12 metres to the right-hand side of the upright to give them a 10-0 lead. And you've got to remember that Great Britain will have a strong breeze at their backs in the second half. Here he goes. It looks good. Up go the flags. It's 10-0 at Princes Park. Great Britain lead Australia in the second Rugby League Test.
The Magna SE. Now please consider the SE wagon. Huh?
And Great Britain go turnabout and take it straight back to them.
Yes, well, Paul Harrigan, the man to turn over possession there. That's twice in a row now, Pat, where the Australians have managed to gain some sort of an advantage through Steve Walters raking the ball back in the ruck, but not holding the ball for one tackle. I'm sure Bob Fulton will have his trainers working overtime in the next 5 or 10 minutes or so, just trying to make sure they follow a few instructions. And that instruction, I should imagine, would be make sure we control the ball and get some territory advantage.
Well, Michael O'Connor, you said that we'd expect mistakes, and now they're starting to come into this game.
That ball must be like a piece of soap out there. It really is very slippery, and I'm surprised that the handling has been as good up until now as it has.
Harrigan, about 28 metres out from the Great Britain line. This is the most promising attack that Australia has mounted in this match. Sirinen, and plenty of attention for him. In there was Eastwood. So too Clark, the try scorer. Langer, let's see if he can set this back line alight. Meninga to Daly. Daly's got a little space here. He's on a fire into Wishart, but O'Fire shepherded him well towards the touchline, and now he's been dragged over the touchline. So the scrum will pack down about 25 metres out from the Great Britain line, and Wally, they are playing inspired football at the moment.
Yes, they are, and they're defending very well. They had a slide defence going on that occasion. Here we see a little bit of a difference between the refereeing standards, Pat. I think in Sydney Rugby League football, we may have seen the referee call hell there. I may be wrong, but the Australians, well, that's 3 opportunities they've had in the last 2 or 3 minutes down this area in the field, and each one has been wasted.
Great Britain will work it on a big open side here. That's out to Paul Newlove. He gets it about 25 metres out from his own line. Darryl Powell. Dermott had Platt with him. He was interfered with and resented it just off camera. There's no love lost between these two sides. And I can tell you the Australians are shell-shocked at the moment, trailing 10-0 here at Princes Park. A capacity house, sitting out in the rain, many of them. But if you're an English fan, well, they're absolutely loving it. That one skids down towards Andrew Eddinghausen. Plenty of Great Britain chasers there. Powell was first to him, and Phil Clark just behind. Clark will chase Hancock and nail him. It was Lindner, I should say. They decide to spin it, Meninga. But they were awake up to that move. Held down in the tackle.
First penalty to the Australians there, Pat, and I'm sure that the players out the middle there would feel a little bit relieved. The previous tackles leading up to that penalty, they really didn't seem to be gaining any advantage.
Well, that is the first Australian penalty, so maybe they can set themselves, get a little bit of a roll on here. Harrigan takes it to them. 32 out. Australia looking for the reply. A reply that is badly needed. Gillespie. Just heading it towards midfield for the switch. Clyde. Clyde still struggling with the defence. Eddinghausen stays up in the line at dummy half. Langer. Harrigan. Taken by Skerritt. Also Edwards. Langer with the back line this time. Jackson. Lindner outside. Ball comes astray. Great Britain have it. Lindner taking his time getting off Eastwood as Stedman brings it away. Jackson was trying to pop up the short ball. Schofield got a hand in there right on cue. Great Britain will not mind if that rain continues throughout the game. Andy Platt. What a first half he's having. Edwards switches. Out to Eastwood. Nowhere for him to go. Last tackle. Edwards goes deep to Stedman. Great kick from the fullback. He was under pressure. Hancock came in to try and charge the ball down. The English fans thinking that the hit was a little late. There was nothing to it. Langer with the feed. 15 minutes remaining. They just have not been able to get into gear. This is an incredible head start in the conditions, Mick, for the Englishmen.
Certainly is. They're playing as per program, I think. Malcolm Really's obviously done a lot of time on working on their kicking game. And there's another penalty to Australia. But they're playing a very structured game. I'm very impressed with the Great Britain side so far.
Mick, it certainly seems to be a different Great Britain defensive line in this game. Just looking through that first match, they tended to be a defensive line that just move up or possibly an up and in smother defence.
Yeah.
Tonight it appears to be a slide defence, which a lot of teams are tending to adopt these days.
That's right, Wally. You picked it. They are sliding. There's a lot of talk out there as well in defence, I can hear from the sideline.
Not too much sliding right there, though.
That's right. I think these conditions help little men too. And that Australian pack is enormous. And the Great Britain side, a lot smaller, lower centre of gravity, and they're holding their feet very well.
Harrigan pops it up right in the midfield for Walters. But they keep on coming in numbers in defence, England. Jackson stepping his way through. The ball was there for Langer, but it was an awkward pass. There was a gap for him to continue on. Stedman. He grabs Alan Langer in a headlock. Betts. There is no doubt to my way of thinking that the Wigan pack is working very much in favour of Great Britain.
That's right, and working as a unit, I believe, Graham. They certainly seem to have a lot of motive behind them. There's certainly no lack of that, but they really look like they're working to a team plan. Perhaps they've just adopted the Wigan team pattern that they had whilst they were playing in the English competition. Whatever it is, it's working very well for them. And, well, a kicking charge brought against the Great Britain team there.
Against Billy McGuinney for kicking out in the tackle, so a couple of things turning Australia's way. McGuinney has been one of the impressive players of the Optus replay here lashes out with the boot and catches the shoulder of Daly. No doubt about it.
I'm sure Malcolm really would be very upset about that, Graham, with only around about 8 minutes to go in this first half. They could have had Australia well back in their own 22-metre. Now, through the efforts of that penalty, we see Australia on the line, perhaps attacking, trying to get that 10-point deficit shortened.
Penalty starting to square up. Harrigan now, back up the middle. They haven't had any answers for the defence at the moment. Serenin, awful ball for Langer, they lose it. That ball was thrown around the knees of Langer by Serenin. So Langer in the last couple of moments has had some awkward ones to contend with. Optus replay down below his hip and a greasy ball. Edwards to Schofield. Stepping inside Jackson. 32 test tries to his credit. Schofield, 27 times he's represented his country. Great player. Clark still full of running in this first 40. Eastwood now from dummy half. Every inch is important for them to get away from the 22. Handling errors going against Australia. Skerritt standing wide. Langer climbed aboard high. Still gets it away as they keep it alive for Platt. Can they just keep this going till half-time and then again in the second 40? Platt shows that when it comes to being in front rower, he is not all that good in the kicking display. Well and truly off the side of the boot. Hancock now to the midfield. Hancock with a gap. It closed just on time by Schofield and also Dermott. Real mess in the play. The ball should have been an Australian penalty.
The ball was still in the middle of the ruck. The rule states that you cannot pick the ball up or touch it whilst it is in the area of the ruck, and that's certainly where that ball was at that stage.
Schofield was not directly in front of the man as well. Steadman on halfway. Hancock gets some running repairs from the Australian trainer. Betts takes it up. A fire is in the middle of the field looking to create an opportunity. Dermott from dummy half. Good ball up the middle. Edwards, he kicks. A fire's coming. A fire. They still get it. Another Great Britain try. McGinney claims it. Australia, it might be early days, but they're on the rack. Princess Park erupts for Great Britain for the second time tonight. Optus replay. Great skills from Edwards. It has been Wigan. Wigan leading the way for Great Britain. The chip over the top. A fire was leading the race. He cops a check. The ball is claimed, in fact, by Newlove.
Looking at that replay, it's a touch and go decision whether the ball actually was forced down with the hand, but very ordinary defence up the middle of the ruck by the Australians there. It was a race to see who was going to get to the ball first. We won't see much from this angle, unfortunately, but from the other one, it did appear as if it was a toss of the coin affair, but you really can't argue. He will see it in slow motion.
No doubt about it, to me, a try to Great Britain.
Yes, he did get his fingernail. That's about all.
But what a night for Great Britain. They have exploded here in the first 40. The Aussies, well and truly stunned.
Well, Graham, Billy McGinty jumped up and was claiming the try, and why wouldn't he? It's his test debut. His side, the underdogs tonight, are leading 14-0, but unfortunately history won't show that his name will go down as a try scorer just yet.
Australia were odds-on going in the betting here. You really could not get aboard Great Britain. Who would have thought it? There will be some punters around this country in a state of shock at the break. They are in big voice, the English supporters here. And smiles all round.
And I say again, Graham, that they're going to have the advantage of this very hefty breeze in the second half.
Eastwood takes time out. Nice and casual at the end of this run. Another valuable 2 on offer. A lasting gaze at the post. Eastwood to drive another nail. first half for Great Britain. No joy for Australia, 16-0. 68 tackles to 46. Minutes remaining.
The Melbourne crowd here in a stunned silence at the moment, Graham. It certainly hasn't been a happy hunting ground for the Australians. Of course,
it was last year at Olympic Park when New Zealand grabbed the first test 24-8.
Well, Melbourne made that point during the week. He also lost the State of Origin match here. So Melbourne is becoming a real hoodoo area for Melbourne.
Steadman, look how confident this side is now. The ball bounces down for Wishart. Plenty of defenders down there. Eddinghausen nearly took his eyes off it. Now he loses it. Scrum will go down. Great Britain right in front of the posts. Throw themselves at the line. Scare it. The Lions looking for one of the biggest upsets in rugby league history. Platt, switch, Edwards. Schofield kicks to the end goal. It gets away, another one. Eddinghausen went ice skating. Schofield chip gets a try. Unbelievable, totally. The world champs are in big trouble. The switch of play on the Optus replay. Schofield, what a great player he has been. Eddinghausen lost his footing, unfortunately. A flying try to the English captain.
Yes, it was a flying try, and it's a flying scoreboard at the moment. The man just can't keep up with the rush up there. That's 2 tries in 5 minutes to the Poms, and Australia, well, they really don't know what's going on. The Great Britain attack, they really does seem to be aiming at 2 players in particular there, Graham, and it is quite often on the blind side. Bobby Lindner's efforts to try and get back to stop that try, just not good enough. 20 going on 22 points to 0. This is unbelievable. A lot of the Australian players will be wishing the nightmare would finish, and finish very quickly.
Let's start pinching ourselves. Under 5 minutes, Schofield grabs his 33rd test try.
Well, it
break out the champagne, not just yet, he might be saying to his teammates.
It certainly is an unbelievable performance. We've just seen the English goal kicker, Paul Eastwood, line up for the goal. He set the sand up and just forgot to bring the ball, so he had to walk over 30 metres to where he'd left it.
But we've got to remember, Graham, that
no one can believe it, except maybe Mal Reilly and his team, who have put on a stunning first 40. Eastwood. It is even worse. Bent's taken 12 metres out from his own line. Platt, a hero in the first half. Skerritt trying to set it up. Still running and struggling with the defenders. Clark, non-stop worker. Well, Mick, are you just as under as everybody?
I am, Graham, but Gary Schofield, he's having a great game, as you mentioned. He should really go out and buy a lottery ticket tonight or tomorrow. You know, he's had a knock on. He got away with that play in the play the ball area, which resulted in a penalty to, I'm going to try to Great Britain rather than a penalty to Australia. And he scored a try off a kick and chase. He's really having a rare night.
Mick, there looked to be a little breakdown in communications there between Eddinghausen and Hancock, even with that ball there. You get that feeling that they really are not just frustrated, but as I said to Wally, totally bustled at the moment.
Yeah, they're stunned at the moment. I can hear the talk on the field, and there's nothing coming from Australia. And E.T., I mean, he made a blue in dropping that ball, which led to the scrum for that try, and then he sort of compounded it with the try.
Daly tried to get something started there. Now Jackson likewise. They really do need to get on the board before half-time. Something to give them the chance at it. Walters.
The ball should go high here. I think if I was the Australians, I'd put it up.
Right on cue. Down it comes Stedman. Plenty of courage. They're used to these sort of takes at Princess Park. They should put him in a Carlton jumper. Optus replay. Great flying take. 12 metres out again, Skerritt. He's been a handful, as has Platt. Last 60 seconds. They go to the last tackle too. They will have to get it away from the danger zone. Stedman will do that easily. The green and gold will have a dying shot at it before half-time. Eddinghausen, open field. Kicking ahead. Hancock's coming. He misses it. Ball beats nearly everybody.
Gee, that was very close from Mickey Hancock. He had the accelerator down flat chat there. Well, decision by the referee as well. I thought he may have even decided that, as we see Eddinghausen here on a magnificent run, probably the only time that the English chasing team wasn't at its best.
Does the bounce of the ball tell you whose night it is tonight?
Yes, it certainly does. Hancock, as we mentioned, though, did very, very well. A little bit of slip in there. He actually didn't even get the fingers to the ball.
Hancock was wishing and hoping for a second chance at it. Eddinghausen thrown to ground. Time is nearly up. Lidner. It might be bombs away right at the death before the break. Langer has Harrigan outside. Dummies to him. Goes to Meninga. Meninga runs out of territory, and Australia with that will run out of time in this first 40.
The big fella just running out of space there. I think Mel just realised just at the last moment that he really could get around there, but of course the slippery conditions not doing much for him, and I suppose when you get his weight on a bit of a slide, there's not much chance of pulling it up in the slippery conditions.
Well, the biggest winning margin by Great Britain in a test match is 23 points. That was in the third test at the SCG, the Sydney Cricket Ground, back in 1958. Stedman now under pressure. Australia drive in. A fire. Well, time we thought was about due.
Great stuff, Alan Langer there. 4 tackles in a row.
Skerritt, 10 metres out, last tackle. Can they put pressure on the kick? Edwards is back. Stedman is back to support. Edwards plants it. Now that will soak up time. That's not bad thinking. I think Great Britain feel that time is about due too. We've still got seconds. Clyde inside the 22. Now it is finally up.
The Australians, I suppose they would have received their orders at half-time, what they've got to come out and do in the second half. And one of those would be, of course, just to try and get some form of team play back in their ball work once they take over after getting possession for the first time. But they're going to be a little bit longer getting that possession. A high tackle from Paul Sirenen, earning Great Britain a penalty, which we'll see, of course. The play end up on halfway. 6 tackles later, it'll be on Australia's try line.
Is on. A couple of big changes.
So some vital ones. What are your thoughts about this turnaround?
Can Australia do it? I doubt it. I think that the conditions the way they are, it's going to be too hard. It's too slippery. Great Britain will just close up shop, I think. They've been tackling very effectively, and I think it's a real tall order to make up 23 points in the second half against the wind in slippery conditions.
Well, Michael, certainly in defence at the moment, Laurie Daly is playing at fullback. Eddinghausen has gone to wing, and Johns has gone into the centres.
Yeah, we saw that happen in the State of Origin, and Laurie Daly nearly turned the game for New South Wales. He's a great stepper, and he's one player that can hold his feet. But we've really only seen one clear break by the Australians, and that was Andrew Eddinghausen when he went around Powell in about the 35th minute of the game.
Betts down the short line, ducking under some tackles. Dermott looks to the backs, goes to Edwards. Schofield kicking. holding the ball up. Daly takes it on the full.
Already no secret in Great Britain's plans for their second half, Graham. They intend to play the game as far down in Australia's territory as possible. Good thinking there as well. Obviously, if Australia are going to have to grab a try, it's going to be a very, very long one, attacking from deep inside their own half. And those tries don't come cheaply in test matches, especially when you're 22 points in arrears.
Back for Meninga. Meninga over the top. Australia lose it, then Great Britain lose it.
For a set of 6, perhaps they should have decided to just play a little bit safe, but I suppose when you're 22 points down, it's very hard to be a little bit sensible about your play.
Crowd tries to get behind the Australians. Better defence. Stedman. Now Seranen, I think, collided with a teammate. Fire loses it. This is where Australia have got to take their chance. Gillespie. Good defence. Lidner goes without. Harrigan. Still they hold. Langer. He had the answers in Sydney. Does he have an answer here? No. Smothering defence. Kevin Walters. Back to Steve. The advantage was played by the referee. Now another penalty. Langer, quick with the restart. Great Britain waved back to be onside. Kevin Walters taken by Betts. 9 metres out. As Fulton is now relying on the Brisbane Broncos. Connection, Meninga! Eddinghausen! No! Tough judge says no. Skerritt. That's the early chance they needed. Clark. Well, you can't deny the Englishman, Mick. They've got pretty deep on pride.
Certainly not, Graham, but I think Bob Fulton's pulled the right rein with the changes at half-time. Laurie Daly already looking very dangerous at fullback. Andrew Eddinghausen on the wing. He's played some great games for Australia against Martin Fire on the wing. And little Kevin Walters, he's already gathered spark to the back line. What do you think, Wally?
Yes, I'm in total agreement with you there, Snoz. The biggest thing I think about having Kevin Walters on the field there, he has got that automatic teamwork with Alan Langer. Now, we saw and we spoke and gave credit to the Wigan pack of 6 in the first half, just how well they work together. And we've seen on countless occasions this year for the Brisbane Broncos how Langer and Kevin Walters work very well. A blunder for Australia, not a tackle made. Laurie Daly turning over possession from the tackle.
A fire midfield. Numbers here. Newlove had some men outside. He goes straight ahead. 12 metres out. A fire stays there. Ducks. 5 metres away. They want another try. Edwards. Schofield. They bring in Betts, trying to hurdle one defender. Schofield. Will he grab 1 point? Easy. Beautifully done. They wasted no time. Schofield stretching it with that field goal. They work it away from the 22. McGinney. 32 out. Skerritt. He's let them know about his presence in the front row. Last tackle now. Stedman. Kicking well away from Daly. Still working towards Eddinghausen, but advances and breaks back to the Canberra man. Great chasing. Plenty of enthusiasm.
8 men again in that chasing team, Graham. It must be pretty hard for a fullback to look up and see that many men chasing.
No answer from Australia yet. Lidner dummying, but to no avail. Nearly 10 gone from half-time. Seranen from a long way back. That is much better to hit it over the advantage line. The roll is there for Gillespie. He tries to take it, 40 out. Meninga, he runs it. Clyde, Ettinghausen, midfield kick, chip and chase. Stedman saves the day.
The 15 metres and the icing on the cake, a quick play the ball.
Daly, taken by Schofield. 30 metres away. Steve Walters to Sirinen. Sirinen for Kevin Walters. Just needed some extra support. They go back to Langer. Gillespie. Back to Langer. He was only just grabbed. Steve Walters, Australian penalty. They didn't clear the ruck area. Langer with a quick tap. Meninga puts it down. The story of the night, Meninga far from comfortable. Maybe a turning point. 8 metres out. Ledner, right up the middle. They are but inches away. Langer's very wide. Back to Harrigan, who gets crushed. Walters looks to bring it back. Langer once again, stepping. He can't find any way through. Steve Walters eyeing off anxiously. Laurie Daly to Clyde. Great head-on tackle from Darryl Powell. There is only one more tackle left here. Langer looking to the in goal. There's no chasers. A fire. Can he get out of there? Easily to the outside of Ettinghausen. Now back on the inside. He gets a great ovation from the English fans.
Alan Langer obviously wrestling with his thoughts there, whether to put the ball in the air or put the ball in behind the line. Terrific chasing team. 8 players one more time going through for the Poms, and really that's something that Malcolm Riley couldn't be happier about.
The Australians with an opportunity. Johns back to Kevin Walters. They've got to find some points now, Pat.
They certainly have, but great stuff there by the Broncos connection as Walters and Johns work. They're going to have to do a lot more work if they're going to get into this game. 23 points to 0 as Sirinen goes on the charge. Now where's the support? It's a long way away and there's 3 English tacklers there for him. More frustration for the Aussies. Steve Walters. Here they go to throw it wide again, but Betts is there to close it up as he has been so often tonight. Langer. On the inside. This is Harrigan. A typical charge. But again, he's been brought down about 8 metres out on the 5th tackle. Langer. Weighing up his options. Goes himself. Langer's one step away from scoring. He ducked under a high one. Penalty Australia.
Well, you've got to ask yourself, why isn't he sent off?
Well, he went high on Langer there, but then again, I suppose, when you have a look at Alfie standing up, it's pretty hard not to go high on the bloke. Terrific little burst through there from the English tacklers, obviously waiting. A golden opportunity for Australia at the moment. The Great Britain defence having a bit of a rest there, shot to bits. Australia must press home this advantage.
4 straight penalties to Australia. They work at the blind side. This is Lindner stepping. He's over the line. He can't get it down. Yes, he can. Yes, he can. That's brilliant stuff from Bob Lindner. Oh, what a try. What a try. No smiles for Bob Fulton yet. Taking the kick with Wishart off the field. It's straight enough, it's long enough, and it's worth 2 points. We welcome you back to Princes Park, where finally the Australian crowd has come alive. 23 points to 6. Wally, are they still in it?
Well, I think they are. They've been given some hope now. I think a lot of that hope, though, has been given a huge boost by Mel Meninga's conversion of that goal. Pat, that brings the deficit down to 17 points. I think if he had missed it and had it been left at 19, they'd look at the scoreboard and immediately think, well, we're 3 converted tries out of the way. Referee didn't see that on that occasion, was looking a different way.
Can't hang on to it. Knock on. Gillespie taking his spot in the starting 13. Kev Walters cuts out Meninga and goes to his Canberra teammate in Laurie Daly. Well, that statistic tells a story as Clyde busts away. Now where's the support? Kevin Walters is screaming for it. He's got it. But Sean Edwards was there to clean up. Quick play the ball here, and the Australians can go on the rampage again. Langer cuts back the other way looking for support. Can't find it. Steve Walters calling the shots from dummy half. Lazarus. The Australians a little bit disorganised at the moment. He makes a good charge upfield. He's only about 14 metres away. They work the blind side. Clyde to Meninga. Meninga to the try scorer, Linda, and back on the inside to Eddinghausen, but he's well covered. Only 8 metres out, Australia. On the 5th tackle. Here they go through Bradley Clyde, charging his way again. Now it's the 5th tackle. So Australia has one more shot at it. Wide to Langer. Langer to Walters. On the charge. There goes Michael Hancock. Is it
Chris Johns?
Chris Johns it was, his Broncos teammate. And Australia are right back in it now.
As Wally was saying, Pat, all these goals now are absolutely vital. Eastwood with the 100%ers in the first 40. Now Meninga has to do all the business to complete the tries.
Well, the Australian captain has it lined up 10 metres in from touch and just outside the quarterway. He's pushed it right. No goal. The scoreline remains at Princes Park. Great Britain 23, Australia 10. The second half here at Princes Park, this historic first ever rugby league match to be played at the famous home ground of the Carlton Australian Rules Football Club. And a little bit of concern now creeping into the faces of the Great Britain reserves. Lazarus standing back inside the Australian in goal.
Speaking of that reserves bench, Pat, I think we might find that Malcolm really will be starting to wonder when he will make a couple of replacements. We've seen the Australian team really gain a great advantage by using a couple of replacements. Perhaps we may see really decide to put a couple of English players on the field, in particular Joe Lydon, who may take make full advantage of that huge breeze. Of course, Joe has got one of the biggest boots in rugby league, and if he can pin Australia deep in their own territory, perhaps it'll play advantage as we see Langer split them up the middle.
Here he goes, little Alfie Langer finds support outside, the ball goes loose inside and it went forward. Great Britain now must settle it down. It's the first time they've had decent possession in quite a while. You remember 4 penalties straight to Australia just before that try. Michael O'Connor, there has been some changes. There's fresh jerseys out there for Great Britain.
That's right. They're coming at the moment, the changes. Paddy, you mentioned before the Bronco connection, and it really is working magic out there, particularly Alan Langer. He's really coming into his own now. I've got those changes. Carl Harrison's on and Paul Hume's on, and Billy McGinty, they replaced Billy McGinty and Kelvin Skerritt.
That was Harrison with the ball. Now they start to run it wide again with Platt. As I said earlier, back into his favourite prop position. Not all that big, but a real dynamo. Good kick down into the Australian quarter, and Laurie Daly is underneath it. But again, plenty of Great Britain chasers. Hancock trying to step his way through the centre, falling off tackles again, and that was Harrison he pushed away. Things starting to look promising for the Australians now. Here goes Lazarus on the charge up towards halfway. Walters into dummy half. He has more runners, and this is Harrigan. Oh, they're making good ground now, the Australian forwards.
And it's no secret where they're making that ground, Pat, right up the middle of the ruck. We mentioned just after half-time we may see Langer opt to, or elect to go and attack round there. Very lucky on that occasion not to be giving away a shepherding penalty. 5th tackle, Australia. Important here to put the ball in a position of the field where they can maintain possession.
Daly jumps into the line and throws it to Mal Meninga, who chips ahead. The ball's gone loose. It's still on the toe, but it'll be kicked into touch. Scrum will go down inside the Great Britain quarter. Meninga chipping it ahead. Across comes Schofield, and it'll be Eddinghausen who'll put it into touch.
Great Britain, most importantly, with the feed. Mick O'Connor, Great Britain have got the wobbles.
They have, Graham. I see another replacement, Gary Connolly, coming on, the St Helens player. I mean, they have, but you just look back on that field goal now, Gary Schofield, and see how important it was. Australia still have to score 3 times if they're going to win, but there are some holes appearing up the middle, as Wally alluded to, and they look as though they're shaking a little bit.
Hume now bringing it away. Someone might have to remind Great Britain that we are in the home of the famous Melbourne Cup. The great 2 miler, the test of endurance. You've got to get to the line strongly. Great Britain have still to show that in this Ashes series. This is a real Melbourne Cup for them. The Ashes on the line. Harrison loses it. One more chance again.
Very good work from Bob Linder on that occasion. We saw him race up to put pressure on the defence, which appeared to take a little bit of a peep.
Clyde. 30 metres out. Steve Walters to Harrigan. Just outside the 22, Lazarus fends off one, takes 3 more with him. Langer to Kevin Walters, who has provided a spark in this second half. Last tackle.
Be interesting to see whether they elect to go to the air here, Graham. I think it's the right option to take.
Langer does just that. Who wants it? Great Britain leave it alone. Ball bounces for them. The bounce has been fine for them tonight. Schofield. Is he just soaking up some time? He clutched at a knee. Crowd think he might be. A fire. It's all vital time being killed here. Harrison. He got the call only a week or so ago to come and join the tour party.
And what a tour he's had so far. He certainly has been electric in all of his form so far.
Edwards trying to tiptoe through the cricket pitch area. Brad Mackay gets warmed up for Australia. Last tackle against the Englishman. Stedman. He received plenty of support. Now, I think this is a pretty tough penalty against us, Great Britain.
It was a bit of a hard penalty. Carl Harrison certainly did put a little bit of a detour in the Australian kick-chasing team, but it really didn't seem to be anything that was above some of the other occasions that it's happened during the match.
Well, he's entitled to stand his ground. 5 straight penalties to the Australians. They've got to score more than a point a minute. Lazarus near the 22. The territory dominated normally by the likes of Langer and Meninga. Dangerous times for Great Britain. Langer, short ball up for Lidner. Is it try time? Steve Walters was allowed plenty of room from dummy half to brother Kevin. 5 metres out only. Langer, Meninga. Daly to the outside for Eddinghausen. Kicks to the in goal, no good. Back to the 22. Hancock. All the time it's getting late. Another penalty. And got the shot on him. Right on the 22, the scrum. Famous tunes of Never Walk Alone. From the Great Britain supporters, they believe time and the scoreboard well and truly on their side. Inside the last 10. Is there about to be an Australian miracle, Michael O'Connor?
I'd like to think so, Graham, but realistically, no. I don't think they can do it. They might get back with another try, but time's going to run out. I think if the game was going to go for another half an hour, Australia could win it, but it's no coincidence. Since the rain stopped, they're using their backs. The Bronco connection, which I mentioned before, the team changes. They're a lot more confident than they were, but they've left it too late.
Platt, midfield, last tackle. Long ball back for Stedman. Takes his time. Picks out Eddinghausen and Daly. Down near their own 22. They lose it. Great Britain have it. Now Daly recovers with the feed. Big blindside. Schofield and Stedman want to use it. Meninga's there on Schofield. Stedman the door. Nobody was home. All nights ever in rugby league. You talk about Wembley back in 1990. It will be a long, long time before Princess Park in Carlton, Melbourne, will ever be forgotten. They are celebrating in a big way. As we said before, they did wander out tonight to the strains of Land of Hope and Glory. That about says it all tonight. Eastwood, one of the big heroes, 5 from 5. Right out near the chalk. Just those little nervous antics of his. Eastwood. Oh, yeah! It is their night in a huge way. Has these guys on fire. Steadman up in the line. The singing will not stop now. Incredible atmosphere. Harrison. Well, Mick, we're really got to start thinking about the heroes now.
Yeah, that's right. Obviously, Gary Schofield's led on the front foot. I've been particularly impressed with the forwards. They've worked tirelessly. They've slackened off a little bit in the second half. Andy Platt's had a big game. This bloke, Graham Steadman, he's had an absolute enormous game. The thing that has really impressed me about their game tonight has been their kicking game. Wally's mentioned it all night, and the chase. It's something that they didn't do in the first test, and they've really perfected it for this game. But he's had a big game. Oh, there's a host of players. Eastwood on the wing, he hasn't missed a goal all night. You know, you could give it 21 to the man of the match, 21 of the 13 as far as I'm concerned.
Wally, we were so confident after Sydney. Everybody was talking about the series was dead. Now, can we hang on to it?
Well, there's a lot of people going to be asking that question over the next 7 days or so, and there's be plenty of homework put in the Australian camp over the performances of most of the Australians in this game. I don't think it's time to quite time to head towards the gap just yet. A lot of people will be wondering exactly what sort of track is going to be available at Lang Park in Brisbane in 7 days' time. If it's a dry track, I think a lot of people will be expecting another Australian victory. If it's a little bit slippery, if there's a little bit of rain about, the bookies will be just about giving even odds.
Steve Walters, Langer, Kevin Walters. Johns flicks inside for Eddinghausen. Schofield in the way. Still the ball gets tossed. Mackay.
Another great tackle in there from Andy Platt. We've just heard Mick O'Connor tell us, or give a big rap to him about the way he's conducted himself out there tonight. And you can't argue with that. He's done tremendously well.
Steve Walters.
He's taken the ball up very, very well all night as we see the Australians desperately trying to get through. Could this be another nail in the coffin?
Linger's trying to match it. The ball beautifully kept on the toe. No! Right at the death, he lost it. He just gave it too much.
You've got to feel sorry for him. The poor bloke has just run 50 metres. He's probably had the heroes welcome for him all picked out in his mind exactly what's going to happen. Here it is, the final kick, just a little bit too far.
Eastwood nearly grabbed himself a try. He won't be too disappointed. Lazarus. Steve Walters to Mackay. Short of halfway. The headaches that belong to Great Britain now belong to Australia. They've got to come up with the answers at Lang Park. Meninga. Daly.
And once again, we see Great Britain's slide defence paying dividends for them. They had that move particularly well covered. They were in no danger at all of getting split. They had ample men out there to cover it. And once again, another attacking raid from Australia gone begging.
Lydon is out there. Steadman. Not afraid to stay up the line and do some work like a front rower. Schofield. Great skill. A fire. Eddinghausen and the great chase. He will not get him tonight. Magic. Sensational try. This has been a class act. 5-star stuff. Tremendously exciting rugby league. Gary Schofield, what a chip. Doesn't he have some talent with this one?
He certainly does, and positions it very well. Well, that pass. Gee, that's a mile forward, but it doesn't make any difference. The game was over before this. E.T. doing his best to get to him, but, well, when you've got speed with, like that to contend with, it's very, very hard. Second try in 6 minutes for the Poms, and superbly set up by Schofield, who really has been the man behind the Poms push all night.
Michael O'Connor, one of the great sights in rugby league, afire.
There's no doubt about that, but that pass was a mile forward. Look, I'm just wondering what the Australian players are going to do, or whether their clubs are going to use them this weekend after this loss. They've only got a week to turn this around. I wonder how many of these Australian players will be backing up for their clubs this weekend.
Great point. Very interesting point. Now Eastwood. Can he do it again? No celebration for Australia as far as the Ashes in Melbourne. But this has been one of the great test performances. Around 8,000 English fans made the journey to Melbourne. The party will be a massive one tonight. They've been here to see this man and the likes of Schofield produce some magic. 6 from 6. A try like that, skill like that, deserves 2 more points. The difficult angle, but this is where he just finished off the last one. Normally at this ground he gets 6 points for this. Maybe they'll give him 1 for a behind. That's all they can give him. There it is. Time is gone on a night of rugby league history in Victoria, of all places. Take a bow, Malcolm Reilly and Great Britain. The biggest upset of all time. Bobby Fulton gets disappointed in Melbourne for the 2nd time in 2 years. A wry smile. He has a great side that will bounce back. Tonight, they are the champions. They've knocked off the world champs. The Union Jack will fly high tonight. The Wigan pack led the way right from the start. Schofield was a key. He was brilliant. Platt was magnificent in the forwards. Steadman, a real match winner at the back, as was Eastwood on the wing. Just like Australia in Sydney, you could line up the heroes right through the whole side. Schofield, what a magic game as captain. And Great Britain equalled their biggest winning margin against Australia that was set back in 1958. Well, what a proud captain will be Gary Schofield. Here he is with Pat Welsh.
Gary Schofield, congratulations, a sensational turnaround.
Yeah, mate, you know, we believed in ourselves and the self-belief was there. And as I said last week, if you don't turn pressure to points, you're not going to win a football game. We reversed the pressure tonight, and it showed the Australians are only human.
Now, you were in doubt yesterday. You didn't run yesterday with the team, and you turned in a blinder.
Oh, thank you very much, mate. It was only just a precaution regarding the hamstring, but you know, I've had a bit of treatment on it, and it's come up trumps tonight. And I'm so proud of my fellas tonight. It's my second time catching against Australia to get a win. I'm the proudest man in the Great Britain, I can reassure you.
Well, I tell you, you went in as underdogs, but you probably go to Lane Parker's favourites.
Oh, well, we won't be thinking that. We'll, you know, we'll assess the video, look where the points what we did wrong first, and then look at the good points, and then I say we'll look forward to the third test next Friday.
Were the conditions in your favour, do you think, tonight?
Well, as I said before, I've said in the interviews before, you know, if you can't play international football at any level, in any conditions, then you shouldn't be playing it.
What was the change of tactics?
Well, we just had to, you know, put pressure on them and do, you know, like the Great Britain side 2 weeks ago, we faltered. If we could put pressure on the Australians like they're only human like we are, you know, they're going to come up with the mistakes.
Now, you said last time that they only played for 30 or 40 minutes. Tonight was 80 minutes, but midway through that second half, were you a little worried?
Oh, well, we wasn't worried. We realised that, you know, we were slacking off a little bit, but it showed that we came strong at the end by scoring them 2 fabulous tries.
All right, congratulations. I know you want to go and celebrate, and they're well-deserved.
Thanks, Pat. Been a pleasure. Thank you.
Gary Schofield has composed himself, and for just one night, Princess Park in Melbourne has a little touch of famous Wembley Stadium. Incredible atmosphere outside, but not right there in the Australian dressing room. A disappointing night ahead for them to regain, regroup, regather their thoughts.
Opens up an interesting question watching a scene like that. I remember around about 12 months ago, Graham, a similar scene when New Zealand beat Australia, again down here in Melbourne, and the knives came out that night. There were around about 4 or 5 players dropped. One wonders whether the same thing will happen tonight. It makes it very difficult after Australia convincingly won the first test. The English have turned that result around for tonight, so it's 1 game all, but do certain players feel the blade coming around their neck?
Well, the fans still want their players to stay out on the paddock. They had a guy in the second row from Wigan tonight making his debut against the Australians. Billy McGinney, here he is with Pat Welch.
First test, Billy McGinney, congratulations.
Thank you very much. It was a hard match, but we deserved to win. We were all looking forward to it. We knew we could beat them. We know they're not supermen, and we're looking forward to next week now.
I suppose, do you go in as favourites?
Well, I don't know about that, but Australia are a very, very good side, and we are, and we're really looking forward to it. Next week should be a good tussle, see the world champions.
Now, can you believe that there were so many points scored out there? It's a little slippery, isn't it?
It's very, very slippery, and I don't think that the Australians were ready for that. We're used to playing in wet conditions, and hopefully it'll rain next week.
How much did the crowd lift you in that second half when the Australians put together those 2 quick tries?